All right, so I was eating breakfast there and getting my bearings on the market. I woke up in the middle of the night, like 3 o'clock, and I was up for a couple hours, so I slept in a little bit this morning, so I missed a lot of this. I was on whenever this second entry triggered, but I had just gotten on and I didn't want to take a trade before I was really sure what was going on and fully focused, so just skip that one, but chances are that's probably a good trade. Get a run through what's happened so far. So starting in the overnight, short-term uptrend, break new high. Looks like got a little short-term downtrend. Short-term downtrend, gets a break, a couple attempts at a new low, can't quite get there. Just kind of chops around. Then we break out, pull back, downtrend, break new low. Short-term uptrend can't play out. Okay, interesting. Didn't actually notice that earlier. It's possible that there's something here blocking this trend from playing out, but you get an uptrend that doesn't play out. Now it looks like you get a spike and channel down. I think it's a break and a new low. It's broken by this congestive area. You can clearly see the resistance here. So the support isn't as clear, but there's clearly that resistance right at this level. Prices are struggling to get higher. They get a slight failed breakout, you get a lower high, and then you move lower. In fact, that looks like a pretty good trade too. Now prices are moving up. You have this uptrend here, 2 legs down. Looks like it could be a pretty good second entry long right there. Now prices have just moved to the break and new high of this uptrend, playing out early. It looks like prices are within this range, so they're playing out really early, as I'm expecting prices to go from the lows down here, where they bounced off of, up to the highs. But with prices playing out, it might be kind of weak. Clearly having some trouble here at the midline. Now prices are mainly just chopping around. So not really expecting prices to do anything right now. I'm just waiting for a clearer structure. Now, this uptrend is played out, and again, it's played out early. We're just kind of in the middle of nowhere now. Okay, we're moving down strongly now, so it does look like this uptrend does have a breaking new high and it's played out. They're getting the strong push below the EMA. A really big bearish bar closing almost on its lows. With how sideways prices are looking, it looks like there might be a range within the range. Maybe something like this. It's definitely a possibility. Not getting any follow through on that big bearish bar. In fact, we took it all back and more in an equally big bullish bar. Lots of big up and big down actions. So you have this big down bar, this big up bar, and now we're just stacking within both of them. Definitely range-like. Big bullish bar. Picked up some momentum right there in the end. And it's getting some continuation. It's looking like this range is probably not correct. Could consider the second entry short if there's a good bearish bar, but the thing is it made a higher high. So we have this high, then we make a higher high, and then this another higher high. Maybe if it was a lower high and it was clear resistance there, that might be something that I consider, but as is, I'm not considering that. Losing momentum as we're going. So this one is really just kind of a doji range bar. Same with this one, slowly chopping higher, but for the most part just kind of range-like. So now it looks like we've broken the uptrend and had two legs higher. So we have this uptrend, then a break, and two legs up. Looks like these might even be measured. Pretty close. So not exactly sure where prices are going to go from there. I see some downward action right now, back to the EMA. So the second entry short could have been okay. You can see a first entry, second entry with the bearish bar here after the 2 legs up. It's a little bit aggressive, but I can see that being an okay trade. Very little volume today. It's very choppy. So I'm definitely feeling pretty bored today. There's not too much to see and not too much to comment on here. Nothing that I'm even really looking to trade. But I've only been on for half an hour. So we made another higher low there. It's possible that there's a little spike in channel going on, but it would be really, really weak if there is something like that. But it could be, it would be really weak if that is the case. Oftentimes, those weak channels, especially in ranges, are not reliable. I'm just not looking at this right now saying, I completely understand what's going on. I get it. I'm ready to take a trade. What's possible is, again, this uptrend could be correct and you could get some sort of second entry off of this, but after this uptrend has already had a break in 2 legs higher, and this is such a loose, weak uptrend, I don't know if I would trust it. Now, you have this strong leg down after the trend is played out. Maybe you can get some sort of second entry short, looking to go lower, but you don't have any actual reason to go lower. This is just choppy sideways action. I feel like I need to wait on something a lot clearer before I take anything. So we're moving on down. We're moving down pretty strongly. Gonna remove this really weak uptrend that I said probably wasn't going to be helpful. You're getting the short-term downtrend. Let's see what we do at this support level. This was a previous support level. It looks like prices are turning up off of it just slightly. So we had a bearish bar that was mainly just kind of a neutral bar, pretty strong bar close on its lows. You get this doji pause bar and then another super strong bearish bar, two pause bars, strong bearish bar that then pulls up off the lows as it finds support at this level. And now we're seeing if we're going to get any continuation and get through the support level. I'm going to change this one to a blue arrow because I really do think that's a good trade. Okay, we're pushing on through this support. So now I'm looking for shorts, definitely. So if we get some sort of second entry short, that's probably what I'm going to look to take right now. Talking about congestion, I am quite congested. Possible that there is a larger downtrend here, as I pointed out earlier. I don't really love the look of it. Definitely a possibility though. Could be something like that potentially. That actually does fit quite well. A very strong downtrend there. Continuous bearish bars closing on their lows. So the downtrend continues, not letting up at all. We are getting some sort of pause bars here, but still closing close to their lows. This one's a little balanced bar. I want to see how prices react. So the initial range is up here, but I want to see how prices react as they come down to this possible support level. Okay, we're breaking the short-term downtrend. There's a nice, big, strong, bullish bar there, closing right on its highs. Looking for the potential for a second entry short. Getting some continuation on this bar. And selling off the majority of it. So complete reversal right there. So we had a strong push up and then we reversed all that momentum. Looks like we're going to close close to the downside now. I know I need to be careful to still wait on the best trades because I haven't taken one in the past couple days. So I know whenever that happens, sometimes I'll force a trade. So I need to be careful to make sure that whatever trade I take is actually a good one. So there we go, we pushed up again. So we pushed up and over that previous bar, but ultimately ended up being a lot like a range bar. So we came back down and closed. Still a little bit bullish, but mostly neutral. So looking for a second entry here. Price is looking a little bit congestive within this doji bar to the left. Another pure range bar here, stacking within. So we have 3 stacked bars now, doji, neutral bar, another doji. I'm expecting a break and new low of that short-term downtrend still. Just waiting for the right time. So there's our first entry. Price is still within this congestive area. Okay, moving up. So we tested the lows of the congestion, now we're testing the highs. And it sells off immediately. So the next break below will be a second entry short. I think what I'd like to see is for this bar to close on its high and get a bearish bar. So this close on its high and then get a bearish bar from there. That doesn't ensure that I'll take it, but it's probably the best case scenario as far as what I can see right now. So there's the possibility of an entry, but we are looking like we're picking up some steam here. So if we turn bearish and there's a nice bearish bar, that could be a second entry short. Looking for the break and new low of the short-term downtrend. But this was a pretty strong push up. So got to see what prices are going to be able to do here. Looks like we're picking up some momentum to the downside. And we're probably going to end bearish here. There was some buying right at the very end of that bar, so it didn't end bearish. I'm not going to take that. So it started out with a lot of momentum, and then as it came down here, it picked up some buying. So it looks like it was a little bit of a breakout pullback on a really small scale. So we have these 3 stacked bars. It came down, tested the range lows, tested the range highs, broke out of the range highs, came back to breakout pullback, and now we're headed higher. I'm going to draw the short-term uptrend through the first reversal right there. Looks like that is going to continue up. Super strong bullish push. Bar opens on its lows, closes on its highs right there. Possibly even an exhausted move. Not looking for an entry, not anymore. So this short-term downtrend, I'm not really even looking for a break and new low anymore because of how strong this push up was and how much we've retraced of this downtrend. This major downtrend is probably incorrect, but I want to see if prices are able to react here because it could still be valid. We have 1, 2, 3 touches on the top and 2 touches on the bottom. But prices, as they came off the main side, were not able to push down even close to the opposite side. So it doesn't look like it's going to be correct. Okay, we're touching off that possible downtrend, and that is a second entry short with a bearish bar, but we're still within the short-term uptrend right here, and I don't have enough faith in that downtrend to say that I'm going to challenge this uptrend because of that. So we did get some follow through off that bearish bar. Price is looking pretty sideways. Big down movement, pretty big up movement. Though this downtrend does look like it possibly held here, still not convinced that that is correct. Expecting prices to move to a break, or at least attempt the break and new high of this short-term uptrend here. Extend that back out. So attempt the break and new high now. Looks like that's what they're doing. Potential for a lower high or a failure. So you might get a lower high here. I'm going to put an order just in case. Double top. Not looking like something I'm interested in. Gonna go ahead and exit that. This almost looks like it could be a spike in channel up right here, with this being the spike. It's looking like this downtrend is in the end not correct. I'm going to drag my range back down to these lows because it looks like this was the right spot. So again, now the question is that actually a break? Or is there some sort of possibly a spike in channel or just slightly wider channel? Right now, I'll just put it here. Call that a break and new high for the time being. Continuing upwards, short-term downtrend from earlier was not able to play out. So there's clearly some buying down here in this level. We didn't quite touch the lows, but if you view this as a zone, then we came down to the support zone and now we're pushing higher. Could be a little bit wider. So I'm actually going to pull this back in. Nothing I'm even considering as a trade right now. It's possible you can pull this in just a tad. Maybe this does have a slight close outside, but nothing convincing. It really just looks like one leg down. Another short-term uptrend as a break a new high. So possibly making a second leg up now. Either that or the trend is a little bit wider. So I'm pretty zoned out right now, but there's not really much to pay attention to. I'm tempted to just hop off today because this is pretty dismal. If I was on a little bit earlier, maybe I would have caught this second entry. This is the best one that I've seen in a few days. But I just wasn't on, so I can't beat myself up about. I mean, I was technically on, actually, but can't beat myself up about it because I wasn't ready to take a trade, so I think it was the right decision to still skip it. Now, I wish I didn't wake up in the middle of the night and get no sleep. That would have been nice. So we've made what looks like the second leg up now. So if this is the uptrend, then we've made 2 legs up, but it's possible that it is a little bit wider, something like that. Doesn't particularly matter because I'm not looking to buy at this very moment, but if we take off higher and then we get a pull back and a good entry, then that's a different story. There's a lot of ifs, though. This looks like a break and 2 legs higher. Now we're moving down. We did come down and make a lower low right there. So higher low, higher low, higher low, lower low. Let's see if prices are able to make a lower low and continue downwards, in which case I might be interested in taking a short of some kind. Right now prices are pretty directionless. There's not really a clear target. For one, it looks like prices came off the lows and you would expect them to go to the highs, but you're seeing all these trends play out. So this uptrend plays out early, and then this uptrend plays out early, creating a lower high compared to this one. So there's not really a bias in either direction right now. Continued down movement. So we had the strong bearish bar, neutral bar, and then a big bearish bar that ends on its lows for continuation. So if we got a second entry short, so we move up, we get a second entry short, I'm going to most likely take that. Getting continued momentum. This bearish bar is having the bottom sort of fall through right now. Finding some buying. Looks like it's not even going to close very close to its lows. And I was wrong, we are getting some continuation. So it pulled back about halfway and then traded back down, eventually closing close to its lows. So we have a short-term downtrend in play, definitely. Like I said, if we get a second entry short, I'll probably be interested there. Again, really getting some continued down movement. So look at the down movement compared to the up. So down here, we're getting these kind of series of bearish bars. There's a little bit of a pause right there and then a continued series. This one, you're not really getting that series. You get this push up, a pause, one push up, pause. Now here, series of bear bars, a little bit of a pause there, series of bear bars. It's a lot more fluid to the downside, which makes me think that there is more selling pressure than buying. But let's see what happens here. Right now the probabilities are skewed. So if we break the short-term downtrend, the probabilities are skewed to the downside. But I do want to note that we came down to this support zone where we bounced earlier. So it could be a little bit of a range right there. But right now, just with this short-term downtrend, the probabilities are skewed to go to the downside to retest the short-term downtrend. It's possible they don't get down there because of this support, and I want to see what prices do as they react off of this support zone. We did get a nice reversal bar right there, reversal bar up. Now we're getting some continued momentum higher. Watching to see this follow through on the buying. This bar is more of a range bar. Sort of traded up and then traded down about halfway and kind of got stuck around that area. I'm in between if I would want to take a second entry short here. So let's say if we do get a second entry short, it looks like we are bouncing around in sort of this range-like area. So I think I could draw this range pretty safely. Looks like something like that is valid. At least looks valid right now. So with us bouncing off of these potential lows, definitely is a little bit sketchy to me to take another short. Just have to watch and see how it sort of plays out here. Clearly the upward momentum is waning. There was not a bunch of upward momentum there. There was this kind of reversal bar, an up bias bar, but it wasn't a super strong one. And then this kind of range-like bar. Now we're getting downward momentum once again. This is kind of a dangerous spot because I could see us wanting to buy off of the support. So as we come down here, we have a break. Looks like we're going to test these short-term downtrend lows. I could see there being a good place to buy down here, but I could also see there being a good place to short if we get a second leg up for the second entry. So it's an interesting area. So not getting any follow through on that bearish bar. We are turning up here. This bullish bar taking back the entire bearish bar. breaking higher there. Sort of paused at the highs, and then we did break higher. Now let's see about any sort of continuation here. Potential for that second entry short. It's definitely a sketchy place to enter, so I don't know. You're looking for the short-term downtrend, break a new low, but the same support level turned up this equally strong short-term downtrend without getting a break a new low. It's looking range like there's not a great reason to go short. I think I'm going to have to skip that, even if we do get a big bearish bar here. Just doesn't seem worth it. Doesn't seem worth the risk. So it looks like we are going to have a bearish bar there. We're at least going to close somewhat close to the lows. It's kind of more of a doji. Yeah, I'm not interested there. Closed about halfway anyway, so not even a bearish bar. I think this is clearly a range-like area. I'm waiting for prices to either come down to the lows or come up to the highs before I'm willing to do anything. So we are getting that continued down action. Pretty strong bearish bar there. Closes on its very low. No entry to take around here either, long or short. As I said, I'm waiting until prices return to the support or the resistance, and then I'll consider taking something. I'm only on for about 20 more minutes here. Then I'll have to call it a day, so I won't even be able to trade this afternoon. Got on late and won't be able to trade the afternoon. I have a doctor's appointment later. Not that this was a bearish bar, so I wouldn't take this anyway, but it looks like I was kind of correct in my initial thinking that we might get a second entry short looking for the break and new low of the short-term downtrend. Now that we've had these two legs back, prices are attempting the break and new low. It's possible that we just get a bounce and some sort of triple test or something off of this support zone. So that's what I'm now looking for. I'd love to see prices come down, test it, get some nice push away and a higher low. That would probably be the ideal entry down here. Definitely a lower volume day. Let's look at how many bars. 145. That's from 9:30 until 11:42. Let's see yesterday. Yesterday was obviously a lot higher volume. $200. So yeah, there's a decent amount more. About 60 more bars yesterday than today, roughly. Okay, we are testing these lows. Let's see if this downtrend is able to get a break a new low. We got the double bottom. And put in a buy order just in case. And it looks like we're going to push to this break a new low. Prices are not quite turning up right here. Okay, there we go. We pushed to the break a new low. Had this bearish bar. So look at this series of bars right here. Big bearish bar closing on the lows. Kind of a pause bar, closed on its lows though. Decently big bearish bar closing close to the lows. Bearish bar closing right on its lows. Now we got the break a new low of this downtrend, and it's played out right at this support level. So if we get a big bullish bar, I'll consider going long. It's looking like we might here. So we might get that. So I think if I do take this, I'm going to take it a little bit back. This is definitely a big bullish bar. And I'd be worried about going so far. Doesn't close quite on its highs. Okay, I need to think about this one. Downtrend gets a break a new low. You're at this triple test. This bar trades up, but then trades off its highs just a tad. Doesn't have that follow through momentum. I'm going to wait on some sort of higher low, and hopefully we get one. So ideally we'll tick below here and get a nice higher low. Definitely not seeing the rejection off of this level that I'd love to see though. So we did start to see it here. We got a bar with some decent momentum, then it sold off right here, even before we got back to the EMA. So not the momentum that I was hoping for. I was hoping we get a nice bullish bar, boom, higher low. This is looking a little bit more congestive, so we're getting some stacked bars here. There's still the potential for entry, but it's not exactly what I was hoping for. So let's see if this is able to create a higher low or a lower low. That's going to be key here. And I have a feeling if we do turn up, I'm going to have to be pretty quick. Looking really congestive. Doji bar for sure. clearly a range bar there, so we're not finding rejection off of these lows. Let's see if we're able to sort of push up here. And it doesn't look like it. So we're getting a bunch of stacked bars. You can see 1, 2, 3, basically 4 stacked bars here. Gonna remove my order. Doesn't look like something I want to enter. Yeah, super range like down here. We're definitely not getting any sort of rejection. So I'm waiting for prices to either push through there or get some rejection before I'm looking to enter either direction. Definitely this price action is making a lot more sense to me now. There was a period there where I was a little bit confused, but right now it feels like I'm sort of at home, feels cozy. I just understand it. And that's the feeling that I should have before I take an entry. So there's a higher low right there, but that's a super congestive doji-like bar. It was a range-like bar the entire time that happened to close on its highs. It's not the type of bar that I'm looking for in a higher low. Getting some movement up, breaking out of this sideways action, still considering a higher low. Looks like on a small scale that might have been a breakout pullback. So we had some momentum out and then the bar itself pulled back in. Definitely getting some momentum now. So that's a big bullish bar. Close to its highs, not quite on it, but not a ton of selling right there at the highs. So now I'm looking for a higher low still. It would technically be a failed second entry short, but really just kind of looks like a higher low. So even though we had a pretty nice bullish bar there, there was no follow through. So we instantly went for a pause bar. Pure range, small bar. No follow through. Doesn't really matter where this bar ends because it was purely just a doji bar the entire way through. Ends on its highs. It's not super important though, because it could have very well ended on its lows. And that's definitely the difference between looking at a static chart and looking at a dynamic chart. Dynamic being a live moving chart. Is I might think that's a pretty strong bar, but watching it form, it was truly just a doji that happened to close on its highs. It's something that you wouldn't see on a static chart, except for the fact that it is so small, which could help you sort of determine that. Nonetheless, looks like we're getting a tad of continuation on there. We ticked higher, 2 ticks higher actually. And we are pulling back. Volume definitely slowing down. Volatility sort of left the market as expected in a middle of a range type of area. Still watching for this potential higher low, but not seeing the momentum that I was hoping for. Looks like this is a good day to not be trading the whole day, because if it's already this low and it's before 12 o'clock, I can't even imagine what it's going to look like around like 1 or 2 o'clock Eastern time. Okay, we picked up a little bit of momentum there on the breakout. The very last part of that bar picked up. There's still the potential for a higher low, but we're getting pretty far in this range, and I prefer to be taking longs down at the lows and shorts at the highs, as opposed to waiting until prices have moved 3/4 of the way through the range. We're getting pretty far now. So there it is, the higher low, but we're getting way too far, just way too far up there. Can't take that. I'll be hopping off here in just a few minutes, so it looks like there's not really going to be anything for me to take. And that makes day 3, no trades this week so far. Again, won't be able to trade this afternoon, so I won't be back on later. Got a doctor's appointment in just a little bit, unfortunately. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a day there. There's obviously nothing that I'm going to take in these next 2 minutes.